I feel like the holiday season is all about helping us to remember that we should all be grateful. Yes, we are all at different places in our lives and we have all faced similar or different things. But what should not change is our heart posture, right? The ability to be grateful for what God has done for us and for Him even just allowing us to still be alive. We recently did this activity at work and it really made me think about, are we really showing gratitude to one another? Like, do we actually just say we're grateful or do we actually show it to one another? So, with that being said, let's talk about the spirit of gratitude. You're listening to the Intellectual Beats podcast, where our focus is elevating conversations. I'm your host, Shayla Kirkendall. I feel like to some degree, we all believe that we have an idea of what gratitude or gratefulness is, but do we really? The definition of gratitude is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. Now, this is a simple definition, and I think we would all raise our hands and say, oh, yes, I do everything entailed in that definition, but it's like, do we really? Do we just say like thank you to people out of routine because we don't want to be viewed as a bad person, or does that thank you come from a genuine heart? Do we look for ways to show gratitude? Are we being intentional with it? So, for example, someone may have done something for you, and maybe to return the gratitude that you have for what they did for you, maybe you do buy them something, or that they've been really, really needing something and you try to figure out how you're going to meet that need. At the same time, even if it's not like what they gift or some kind of monetary value, you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to call that person up and maybe we're going to go out to eat. And I'm going to allow that to be the time where we're just talking, right? We just have this exchange of conversation, or even I'm just going to pick up the phone one day and call them, and I'm just going to hear what's on their heart, right? And believe it or not, that may mean the world to them, because you never know, that could be a person who's always showing up for others and doing and doing and doing and not really getting the, like, having that same energy returned to them. So you taking the time to listen to them may actually help them out in more ways than you realize. And I think that's really what it means when it says a return um, to kindness in the definition, right? Gratitude should not be one sided. It's not for like self gain. Like, I'm going to bless this person and then tell everybody on social media or something like that. Um, I don't know. Again, it just made me start thinking about, are we truly being grateful? Another thing I started to think about is gratitude is really powerful. It can shift your mind, right? It can shift your mindset from where you currently are and bring you out of some things, right? It can bring you out of depression. It can help you take your mind off your current situation and really take you back to how God has been with you in past seasons of your life and He's brought you out, or how God has delivered you from something. And it can even make you realize, what, someone else probably has it worse off than you, right? So gratitude really can help you shift your mindset. And I don't think we realize that enough. I think about it like this. Sometimes I can get up just feeling like, God, I just don't feel like going to work today. Um, but the minute I begin to think about, you know what, God, I remember when I prayed to be where I currently am. Or I can start thinking about, you know what, God, I thank you that I even have a job. God, I thank you that I'm currently in a position to be able to I feel like live out my calling some kind of way. I'm currently a journalism teacher. I transitioned to that role after being a journalist, a reporter. And so it's a different set of responsibilities that come with it. It's a different type of role that I'm currently in, but nevertheless, it's still allowing me to be able to be impactful, even if, as a reporter, I was being hopefully impactful in the way of I'm telling people stories. Now I am showing students how to tell stories, or now I'm being able to also be like a role model to them also. So, it's a different type of thing, but the minute I begin to thank God and not just focus on like, oh, I'm tired, or God, or I don't feel like getting out of bed, or there's a lot on me, I begin to shift my mindset. And then I begin to just simply thank God. So I will say, kind of like on the flip side, sometimes I wonder, when it comes to gratitude, do we sometimes have an issue with expressing gratitude because of the digital age that we're in, right? We know that with social media and other things, there's this way to compare ourselves to others. Um, and I think that could easily taint the level of showing gratitude or being grateful or expressing that quality of thankfulness, because it's like, well, so and so is doing this, or I'm here but I'm not where I want to be yet, and so is already there, right? And it's like, look at yourself. What is God doing for you? Look at yourself. I mean, can you just think about how God is helping you and how God is allowing you to be in a place to where I think I would even phrase it like this. Sometimes being grateful involves self examination, not focusing on others, and really thinking about the things God has shown you over the years. And I think that will allow you to be grateful. Because I think when you begin to forget about certain things, it just, I don't know, changes things for you and how you look at certain things. So let me say this. Yes, so I'm a journalism teacher. I teach middle school, and recently we did a lesson around what it means to be grateful. And this was a lesson. It was school wide. We do this thing in a time called advisory, which is about 30 minutes, 2 days out of the week. And these are character lessons that we do with our students. So leading up to Thanksgiving, we're getting students to think about, what does gratitude mean? What are you feeling and thinking, kind of towards this holiday? What are you thankful for? And we ended our lesson by having students take a course of action, which is writing a gratitude gram and addressing that gratitude gram to a teacher, a fellow student, someone at our school who has impacted them. And really, that gratitude gram, it's kind of simple. It's just like, it's like a little card, and it's at the top of it, it's like, I am grateful for you because, and there's these lines, right? So students are then filling in the blanks, and they can address it to and then from who it's from. And we did that activity, and students enjoyed it. I'm familiar with it because I remember in my previous year of teaching, I saw students also doing it, but I didn't have an advisory last year like I do now. So I got to really see it more firsthand than I did before. And I just realized it was such an impactful thing. Our students addressed them to me. I had some former students write one to me. I saw it in my mailbox, and it just was so moving. And I needed it at a great time. Teaching is, like I said, it can be hard. Um, and so sometimes those like reminders can really help pull you out of a dark place, or it helps you to remember your why, right? Remember your purpose. Like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, just to get something like that. So, but yeah, we wanted students to understand that people can be a light in your life, but sometimes they never receive that recognition, or they're not thanked enough for being that. And times we do things out of just maybe habit, or we do things, yes, out of the goodness of our heart. I'm just going to go over and help so and so. And we may not have to receive the, oh, thank you so much for doing that. You don't know what it meant to me. But isn't it nice when you do that? It is so nice when you do that, because again, people can be operating at a place of like a void, but it's in them to do. It's in them to help. It's in them to serve. And so by you returning that, right? Returning that kindness, remember our definition, that just helps to build them up in a way that you probably didn't even know they needed also. So, yeah, it really meant a lot to me, and it made me to start thinking about, am I showing gratefulness? How can I do that more? And so it even caused me to say, I'm going to address a letter with this gratitude gram to some of my fellow peers, my fellow colleagues in the teaching profession, who I feel like have strengthened me up. This is my second year of teaching. My first year, last year, was a challenge, because I'm learning this thing as I'm teaching my students. And so had it not been for them, sometimes I don't even know if I would still feel encouraged to keep on and keep on. So it's an important thing. It really is. The one thing I'll say about the gratitude grams that I really found interesting is that they were just words flowing from someone's heart. And the saying, what comes from the heart goes from the heart. So you can really, like, when I was reading those gratitude grams, it would just touch me in a way to where you just don't know the impact that you have on people's lives. I say this a lot of times. The seeds that we plant, you never know how they are going to manifest one day. You just never know. And to be in a teaching profession to where now I have the ability to sow a seed and it can impact a student's life. Sometimes it's such a special thing. So sometimes when I was reading those gratitude grams, I just felt so grateful and I just really thank God. Another thing I think about is parents and what they do for their children, right? So parent, let's just say Christmas, right? They give their kids gifts, or their birthday comes around, they're going to give them something, or they know their child's been having a rough time, and it's like, here you go, I'm going to give you something. And I know they appreciate hearing thank you, but I think a parent would really, really appreciate to see a child showing, like, mom and dad, I thank you. Okay, I think when they show it, it takes it to a whole nother level, right? So if they're like, you know what, I really appreciate mom and dad for getting me that whatever it was I was really asking, right? I'm going to not wait for them to tell me to clean my room. I'm going to go ahead and take the initiative and clean it myself. And then the parent comes in and is like, oh, like I didn't even say anything this time, Um, let's say cooking. Now, I've been cooking like since I was like in the fourth grade, simple, things like breakfast and different things. But I'm just saying, depending on the age of the child, it may differ from capabilities. But let's just say a child is like, I know mom and dad has a lot going on. I'm going to try this weekend to get up and cook breakfast, or I'm going to try to make it to where they don't have to, wake up and cook a meal for me. I'll take the initiative and just heat something up. I don't know. I'm just making an example. Or a big one, no attitude. Mom and dad told me I need to do such and such. And instead of being mad and feeling like I don't know why they don't understand me, I'm just going to say, okay, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. And in return, again, the parents I know will appreciate that. So that brings me to my next point, that gratitude is a choice. Like I said earlier, I can wake up in the day and feel like, God, why am I don't even want to face this day. And that is a sincere feeling. That's a sincere feeling. I won't deny that. But then it's like, do I waller in that same feeling, or do I make a decision? You know what? I'm going to encourage myself. I'm going to begin to pray. I'm going to begin to thank God, right? And by thanking God, I'm shifting my mindset, but I'm also taking my feelings off of myself and I'm putting it on something even bigger, right? God has given me another day to wake up. So there is a purpose in this day. Okay. God, use me in this day to fulfill a purpose. God, use me in this day as you see fit so that I can accomplish what you have set before me. Um, I'll say this on the fact that gratitude is a choice. There's a church I attend in Houston, Higher Dimension Church, under the leadership of Pastor Terrence Johnson. And I remember this time it was praise and worship, and he kind of like towards the end, or the middle, he was saying, like, you know what, y'all, like this time of worship is like your way of showing your gratitude to God, right? The songs we're singing, right? It's your way of showing gratitude to God. And he brought up the passage about the 10 lepers and how, Jesus, right? He's performing miracles a lot in the Bible, but Jesus, in the passage of Luke, the book of Luke, he heals the 10 lepers, but only one of them came back and expressed thanks, right? And, that really stuck with me because, first off, God is constantly doing things for us, but it's like, again, do we really, really, really tell God thank you? And does it come from a genuine heart, or is it just like, okay, thank you, Lord, and that's it? Like, seriously, sometimes. And that stuck with me when he said that, and it really, I'll be honest, I went to the passage because I wanted to dissect it a little bit more, and so I'm going to read it and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. So this is Luke chapter 17. This is verses 11 through 17. So now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. And a quick little footnote, Jesus is a Jew. Samaritans and Jews are kind of like, we're different. We don't really mix. So this was even more so like impactful, right? And then the last verse. So Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." Now, looking at this scripture, like I said, there's a lot of things in it that to unpack. First off, so leprosy. If you're not familiar with it, leprosy is a disease. It's a skin disease, and it is evident. Like we can tell, like that you have it. And kind of footnote here, I didn't know this, but I found out that leprosy like is still around. It's called Hansen's disease now. And so the exact definition of that is it's a chronic bacterial infection that affects the skin, nerves, eyes, and respiratory tract. So, it's a pretty serious thing. You can have a rash, you can have sores on your feet, nerve pain. It's mainly spread through like close contact. Like from my understanding, I don't think you can get it just by shaking someone's hand. It's more so kind of like bodily fluids or things like that. But at the same time, in that day and age, kind of like sad to say, when the AIDS epidemic was on the scene, um, it was kind of like, please don't touch me, like mm-mm. So these men have leprosy are like outcasts. So by seeing Jesus, it's like, oh my gosh, finally an opportunity to be cleansed. Like, Jesus, please, please. I know we're Samaritans. Have pity. Well, at least I know one of them was. I don't know if they all were, but nevertheless, it's like, please have pity on us. Like, just please, like, just heal me. So as I'm thinking about that, it's like, I'll say this. In the scripture, in the verse, let's see here. This is the 14th verse. When Jesus is like, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And it says, as they went, they were cleansed. That part just gets me. It's like, as they are going, they are being cleansed. Like, I could be wrong because I'm not a Bible scholar, but when I'm reading that, I'm like, you're telling me that as Jesus is telling them, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And it's like, oh, okay. Because again, Jesus has a reputation like he's healing. And whatever he says, I guess you can say it's going to be fulfilled. So as Jesus telling me to go show myself to the priest, it's like, oh, okay, let me go. Because I may not be able to come in close contact with the priest or anyone with my condition right now, but you're telling me I can go? Okay, I'm going to go. And as I'm going, I am being healed. As I'm going, I'm being healed. Like, I may not even made it to the priest yet. As I'm going, I'm being healed. Now, because of that, it's like, as I'm going, if I have to turn back around, I don't know how far they've gotten. It's like, that may be a little bit of a distance to actually go back and tell you thank you, right? But the fact that one of them did do that, the fact that that was more important, like, I mean, that's just, and I think the way Jesus asked, like basically what happened to all the others? It's almost like a test. Like, I told you to go, and as you're going, I'm cleansing you, but only one of you came back. And like, I was looking for thanks. It's just, I don't know. That really stuck out to me. So I want to say this: if you ever find yourself feeling like it's hard to tap into the spirit of gratitude, I would say just look around. There's a lot of things going on around us in this day and age. And so I really do feel like, yes, being grateful, it is a choice. But also, we have more power than we realize to determine how we're going to do things, right? Because God gives us free will. And so that free will, it allows us, yes, to do as we please. And yes, depending on what you do, you may face some consequences. But it also allows you to respond to things in a certain way. And in a way, you have a choice over that too. So there's a song by the late singer Duranis Pace, of the Pace sisters. And she has a song called I'll Always Be Thankful. And it's a great song. I believe it was kind of like dedicated to Thanksgiving. And it really captures the heart of how we should be, especially, I would say, if you call yourself a Christian. This is a lifestyle we should adopt. We should always be thankful, right? But again, it's like, will I make a decision this season to always be grateful, to always be thankful for what I have, even for what I don't have, knowing that if God has given me truly enough for this day, and that because I trust him with that, hopefully, then I understand that in due time, then God will reward me more if I'm diligent and faithful to whatever it is. But not just that, time and season for everything. Maybe if I don't have whatever it is, even if I feel like I need it or I want it, evidently God is not giving it to me for a reason, but a decision. In this season, I really want you to just stop and think about the people that God has placed in your life, right? Those who have spoken life into you when you needed the most. Sometimes they just did it and felt like you needed an encouraging word, right? Those who have served you in some kind of way, any kind of way to support you. Have you really expressed your thanks to them? But not just expressing it with your mouth. Have you put some action behind it? Like I mentioned earlier, maybe sacrificing my time. And I know we're all busy. Sacrificing some time to say, you know what? Let's just talk. Let's just talk. Again, not knowing it, maybe it's making the world, the day to them. Okay. Making the decision as much as we can on a daily basis to show gratitude. It will truly shift your day. It will influence you on how you show up for others. It will influence you on how you show up daily in pursuit of your own dreams, right? Because life is a journey. It's a journey. So all in all, I just want to say, even when Thanksgiving and Christmas, even when these seasons, these holidays are over and we're just, this new year and we're going about our daily lives, we should never stop being grateful and looking for ways to show and to return kindness to others. I hope you will find ways to think about, do I carry a spirit of gratitude? And if not, what decision will I make today so that I really do embody that? Because I'm telling you, it will shift your day. It will shift your mindset. You can do it. You can do it. Look for ways to show kindness today. Thank you for joining us this week on Intellectual Beats. Did you enjoy the conversation? Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and let us know what you thought about this episode. You can also visit our website at intellectualbeats.com for more content. Don't forget to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast so we can continue bringing you content that will engage, uplift, and challenge you to make an impact in your everyday life.